we are working on the transition from scene to scene. Before, in our last session, we determined why the hell is the script on the canvas layer when we could have the script directly on the animation player and then just call the methods there rather than accessing it in this weird way that we were doing. But now we're good. This is pretty good. So now we have this. All this makes sense, but then we get an error, which I'm not recalling what that error is right now. Boop. Making sure that these have no pertinence over it, which it does not. Let me make sure as well that there's no auto load that I'm not using. Okay, good. Or singleton rather. Animation not found. Okay, so let me go to the animation player. Oops, not what I'm trying to do. Here's the animation player. What I'm trying to look for is the list of animations. I thought it would play or be available. Here we go. Right here. So oddly enough, it's saying fade doesn't exist. Am I spelling it incorrectly? Nope. There is no spaces. Nope. So how does fade not exist? Right, that's what it's saying. What if we call it something else, right? What if we go back to the animation? Are we able to rename this? No. Don't see why that would have any pertinence over anything. I don't know where to put this, so we're just gonna put it. Alright, and then we're gonna cancel this out. Doesn't work. Why is it not found? Animation not found. I mean, I'm literally calling it. Like it just it doesn't allow. Hold on. Let's do it even more basic, right? Let's do reset. Will reset work? Like, will reset work? Okay. You're gonna tell me that reset doesn't exist? What? That's built in. Like, how does it? So there's something wrong here. Naming convention makes no difference. How we're calling it is making a difference. I don't think we need to reference it. Let's go to documentation. Don't need any of those. Animation will be updated the next time the animation writer presses. focus drifted to personal stuff. My intention is to simply I don't care about most of this. What I'm trying to do is I don't care about that. See, like this is the same thing I'm doing. Obviously I'm not calling it on a separate object, but I'm calling it in the same way. Animation player dot play, and then walk. I'm not calling it any differently. Animate sprite, which I don't care about. Let me look at the actual animation player.
You're a good boy. You're a good boy. I love you. I love you, my boy.
Love you, my boy. Just occurred to me that I did not have a timer. Game time. Get excited. Set your heart ablaze. Wolf! Alright. Animation play. Sorry, again, getting distracted in a bunch of internal thoughts. What I need to do is trying to, let's work backwards, break it apart, right? That's what good problem solvers do. Is we have a problem where it's not being called correctly. From what we see, we are calling the things correctly, but perhaps we're not saving the animations correctly. I don't know. But this is not it. Let's do this. We don't need two of these. Animation player. Why is this so hard to find? Am I calling it something different? No, I'm not. Jesus. The difference a space makes. I'm just curious to see
For chapter
if
1.
I can see really quick that this is streaming now. Ah, I can. Okay, cool. Can I see how long it's been streaming? I know this is super meta. I don't even know if that'll work. Ah, I can. Okay, cool. Yeah. But I cannot see how long it's been going. I don't even know if that'll work. Oh. Yeah. 14 minutes. Okay. I cannot see how long it's been going. How do I do this? How do I do this? What problem am I trying to solve? Why animation is not found? Let's just Google it, right? Let's just. Oh my god, I hate that it logs me out every time. Animation I created keeps saying quote. I mean, let's reset. That's actually a bad example. Let me just redo this. I mean, not that it's, I don't think it really matters. But just to give it an accurate error. Again, not that I think it matters. verify that you have added fade transition animation to the animation player node. If you haven't added the animation yet, you need to create it first by clicking animation button and then new. Yeah, I don't think that's the issue here, right? Because otherwise it'd be animation new, right? And I don't need to do that because manage animation. Set animation set not loaded. If you're trying to play an animation immediately after loading the scene, there might be a timing issue. Timing issue where the animation player node hasn't loaded the animation set. Ensure that the animation is loaded and ready to be played. Maybe? Regarding number 3, how would this be done? Yeah, I don't think that's the issue. Misspelling, and I misspell misspelling. Is that funny too? Just me. Weight is not used. Yes, it is. You're out of date. No, it's not. Definitely not. I mean, this is likely very dumb, right? And it's likely very dumb and likely not the issue, but this is what I typically do when something doesn't go right, is that I restart. So we're going to grab an animation player. We're going to grab the script that we already created for that, put it right on there. Then we need to create a new animation. We're going to call it fade. We're going to take frame 1. This should be, it goes from completely translucent, which it is right now, to kind of black. Or mid black, just right here. Then we Put that keyframe in there. Put that keyframe in there. Yes. And then we get all the way black. Here. And put that keyframe in there. Bow. Bow, I say. Bow, I say. Did I do it? I don't know. It's not a very smooth transition. Oh, because first of all, at the very first frame, it should be completely translucent. So that's better. Alright, so there's the animation. There it is. Do I need to save it or anything? Here, save. Here we go. I'm gonna cancel you out. Cancel you out. Play. Fade. Play. Backwards. Fade. Restart it. Click. Same issue, I think. Yep. Not found. Alright. What are we at? Like 25 minutes again of the same problem. I mean, I guess we're definitely one step closer. So saying fade doesn't exist. I just don't understand why. One second here. Okay, dokie. What is going on here? How do we resolve this? I mean, focus, Chef. I just don't get it. Animation not found. Let's go back to the animation. Here are the animations. We can manage it. We can edit transition. We can put it in the inspector. What is this? Autoplay. Unload. I don't know if that's going to resolve it. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Nope. Same error. Yeah. What can I do with this? Manage animations. You. What is this? Add to library. Under fade. I don't know. I don't know. But we're giving it a shot. What we did was add it to the library. Yeah. So save. Run it. Nope. Adding it to library did nothing. Oh boy. What is going on here? You are a curious one, truly. Because again, this should be very, very simple, but I'm missing something. So let's go back to YouTube. Let's say, what is it? Animation. Scene, transition, animation, go dot 4. Okay, so this is a super simple one. Play with Persevere's great
Good-looking
channel.
screen transitions are surprisingly easy to make. We don't even need an extra viewport. Simply make a screenshot of the scene you come from and assign it to a sprite. You can now unload the scene and load in the next one. Now that we have the sprite, we can do whatever we want with it. We can change its modulate to fade it out. We can increase it to make it really bright and create a flashbang effect. For more intricate transitions, try moving it or scaling it. We can even apply a simple shader to it. For example, we can dissolve it. For this, we just add another texture, maybe a bit of noise. We interpret the brightness of the texture as its internal resistance texture. This does the same as an if, but GPUs have effect we covered in this. Unload the scene and load it.
Animation player. Where are you even using the animation player in this? Oh, there it is. Play animation. Son of a bitch. Again, that's what that's also like the frustrating part. Is like, dude, I'm
Hello,
doing
everyone.
all of
In
this.
this tutorial, I'll be showing in a color rect.
Mm-hmm.
We can make it black, or
I did
to
that
make
too.
sure it overlays
I
everything.
did that too.
We will get the property of the color rect and the
I'm just gonna fast forward this and put it
Self-modulate.
on mute because I
Okay.
believe I. Oh, it looks like he did it in a cooler way. Let me make sure. Actually, I'm not missing anything. I don't want to take that for granted, and then I'm.
Out. We will get the property of the color rect and the self-modulate. Insert the key. Put this at the end here. Head over to the visibility. Self-modulate. Put the alpha to 0. Right click. Insert that key. Right here. And if we play that, you'll see it'll fade out. Let's create a new animation. We can actually duplicate this animation so that we have the same properties. Fade in, and we can just swap around these two values. So now we fade in. In order for the button to remain functional, we cannot have anything over it. So make this invisible. Add a new property. Color rect. Visible. And visible will be on here. And when we are fading in, at the end here, we need to turn it invisible. So property track, color rect, visible. We'll get false. Go over to our main. Let's reference our transition. Now on play press. Transition. Dot play. Fade out. And now, once the animation has finished in our main, we'll go ahead and reference our next scene.
What exactly are you? Oh, okay.
Which will be a preload of our levels, level 1. Now we can get tree dot change scene to packed level 1. Now let's go to copy our transition, head over to our level 1, paste that in, make sure that this is visible to start, and apply the script. Let's go ahead and copy over our same reference, and we don't need a process. We just need in the ready function, position dot play, fade in. Now if we run the game, press play, go fade in.
Dude,
And fade out.
I'm doing literally everything, the same exact thing. I don't know what I'm missing. I'm gonna redo this whole video because I don't get what I'm missing
here.
here.
Smoothly transition from one level to another and get all 4. To get started, let's quickly connect our play button or whatever you are using to transition the scene. So let's use the play button. Let's create a new animation player. Let's just name it transition. Add in a color rect. We can make it black, or you can even do a white fade. But for a black fade, we will use the black color rect. Let's make sure it overlays everything. And let's create a new animation. Let's call it.
Does the
fade
color rect need to be
out.
a child of? Does that help? That's the only difference I'm seeing thus far. Well, let's give it a shot. Yeah, I didn't think so.
We will get the property of the color and the self-modulate. Insert the key. Put this at the end here. Head over to the visibility. Self-modulate. Put the alpha to 0. Right click. Insert that key over here. And if we play that, you'll see it'll fade out. Let's create a new animation. We can actually duplicate this animation so that way we have the same properties. Fade in, and we can just swap around these two values. So now we fade in. In order for the button to remain functional, we cannot have anything over it. So make this invisible. Add a new property. Color rect. Visible. And visible will be on here. And when we are fading in, at the end here, we need to turn it invisible. So property track, color rect, visible. We'll get false. Go over to our main. Let's reference our transition. Now, on play press, transition, dot play, fade, out. And now, once that animation has finished in our main, we'll go ahead and reference our next scene, which will be a preload of our levels, level 1. Now we can get tree, dot change scene to packed, level 1. Now let's go to copy our transition, head over to our level 1, paste that in, make sure that this is visible to start, and apply the script. Let's go ahead and copy over our same reference, and we don't need a process, we just need in the ready function, position, dot play, fade in, and now
There's nothing I'm doing differently. There's nothing I'm doing differently. Like, the only difference I can see here is, like, actually calling the animation player on ready, but that was a problem before, for whatever reason. But, and I'm using, what version of Godot? I'm pretty sure I'm using a stable version. Yeah. Not like the latest one. 4.3. 4.2, which I'm pretty sure is stable. Is 4.2 not stable? Let me look at that. I doubt it, but let me see. Yeah, 4.2.1. This is the latest. Oh. 4.2.1 is the latest. And is that... Oh. Oh, right, but I used Godot 4.2.1 because it was compatible with Dialogic, and the other one was not. How do I do this? I highly doubt it. Yeah, but I'm just in experimenting around at this point because I really don't get what's happening. Same thing. Animation not found. Animation has set name is true. Animation not found. Oh, there it is. I just don't get why. Let's see. 4.2.1.
Hello everybody, Chris here, and in this video I want to show you how you can set up fade out and fade in transitions for your Godot game. And as a option, you can also have a scene to load once your fade out animation is complete. So let me go ahead and set the load scene over here, and let's replay the game real quick. And this time when we fade out, you'll see that it will switch to a scene once the fade out animation is complete. So in your Godot project, we're going to start by creating a new scene to create our transition UI. So let's add a new scene to the project. We'll use user interface as our base root node, and I'm going to rename this to be transitions. So under transitions, I'm going to need at a minimum 2 different nodes. One is going to be the texture rect node. So add the texture rect node. This is where we're going to create our circle texture. You can also bring in any image into Godot and have it render on a texture rect as well. So let's create that. And then later, to actually animate the properties on this texture rect, we'll need an animation player. So I'll right click on the transitions node, add child, and search for animation player. Okay, so let's click on the texture rect node, and the first thing we're going to need to set up is the texture. So if we click on the drop down for texture in the inspector, you'll see there's a bunch of different options here. If you just want to use an image like a JPEG or PNG, you can start by using a image texture. But in this tutorial, I'm actually going to be using a gradient texture 2D because without actually bringing in an image, we can just create a circle right inside of Godot. So let's do a new gradient texture 2D, and you should see the default black to white, left to right transition. So click on the texture in the inspector, and let's change a few settings here. First, go to fill, and we're going to change it from linear fill to radial. Then up here at the top near the picture of the gradient, there's a grid option here. So if we toggle grid snap, it'll make it very easy to edit the handles on our gradient. So the one in the top left, if we bring that to the center, just snapping it there to 0.5, 0.5, then you'll see that this now looks like a circle. Now, as per our standard gradient, it's going to blur between those two values, but we actually want it to be either completely on or completely off for our transition. So I'm going to click on the gradient colors area, and on interpolation mode, let's change it from linear to constant. So after setting the interpolation mode to constant, you'll see that the image goes completely black. We need to take the white color notch and pull this over to the left a bit until we can see a black circle appear on our screen. So what we actually want to do is not have a square, but we want to make all these white pixels transparent. So double click on the white color notch, and then take the alpha and just set it to 0. So now if we go back out, you'll see that in our scene view and in the gradient preview that we have a circle shape. So we can scale this up or down. If you don't like the exact placement of the pixels here, then you can move the notch a little bit more, and that'll change it. So when I move it a little bit more to the right, you can see that the top, left, bottom, and right has 4 pixels on the edge here for the circle, so it looks a little better. And now how we're going to have our transition is that we scale the texture up or down, depending on if we're fading in or fading out. But right now, if we were to scale the visibility and just make sure that it is visible at the start of our animation here, with the checkbox property track, texture rect, center pointers. So now we should go to the animation player and create some animations. So let's click on the animation drop down, new animation, and let's start by doing a fade out. So new animation name, fade out. For the properties, I'm going to add 2. So click on the drop down, property track, texture rect, and let's get scale. You can type it in or just look for it. So the scale property open, and that adds it to our animation graph down here. Add track, property track. We're starting the texture rect, and I want to search for visible. So add that in. So
maybe the properties I'm messing with. This color. I still don't see a problem with that.
when our animation is going, we want our texture to be visible. But if the animation hasn't started yet, we might actually want the texture to be invisible until we need it in our game. So let's right-click, insert a key for visibility, and just make sure that it is visible at the start of our animation here with the checkbox value on. And then for scale, well, we're going to be fading out. So for our fade out, the screen turns completely black. So at the start of our animation, the texture should be very, very small. So let's right-click and insert a key for scale at the 0 point. And then for value, we can change its value to something like 0.1, 0.1, hit enter. If you move the timeline cursor a bit, then you should see the new size as it actually changes to that scale. So now we need to go to 1 second in, or however long you need your animation to be. You can extend your animation over here on the right. Right-click, insert key, click here, and I'm going to change the value to 25 for the scale, but you can use whatever numbers you want. So now if you move to here, you'll see that the image is now gigantic, and at the start, it's very tiny. So between those values, it's going to animate. So go to frame 0, hit play, and you'll roughly see what the animation is going to look like. Of course, when you're actually in game, it's going to be covering the screen. This space here, whereas 25 scale is actually much bigger than the screen itself. So we'll have to see how that goes in game. And next, take the animation, and we're just going to duplicate it, and I'm going to make this fade in. So with the fade in animation, which it automatically switches to, we're just going to reverse the values of the scale. So I'm just going to take these keyframe points and swap them. So now 25 scale at the start and a 0.1 scale at the end. Now also, when our fade in is done, I want to completely disable this texture X visibility. So let's insert a key for visibility and toggle that off. So now if we go to 0 and hit play, you should see that it is not visible at the end of this fade in animation. So let's save our transition scene now in our project. I'll hit Control S. UI folder would be a decent place to put it, so let's try that, and I'll save it into here. So back in our main game level, we want to add the transition scene here as well. So because we want the UI to move with our player moving across the screen, basically staying in the same visible position, no matter where our character is in the game level, we want to add another child node to test level. So I'm going to right click on our level, add child node, and I believe it's called canvas layer. So we want canvas layer create, and this will keep the positions of things on the screen under it in the same spot that it starts in. So if we take transitions.tscn and put it under here, okay, and make sure it is a child of the canvas layer, you might need to drag and drop it again, then it should keep its position. To quickly show that the transitions is in fact there, let's go to transitions, and you can toggle the visibility here to make sure it's on. Save the scene, go to the test level, and we should see the transitions texture vect right here. But we do want to make sure that this does not be there when the game starts. So of course, if you go back to the transition scene, you can disable it here, and that's okay. But we can also add in scripts that just whenever this object starts in the game, we just make sure that it is actually off in code. So let's create a simple script for our transitions node. So I'm going to go to script in the inspector, new script. Transitions.gd is fine, so I'll create that. And I'll also give this script a class name of transitioner so that we can easily reference it in other scripts, which we'll do in a minute. And what we want to do when our script starts is to disable the visibility of the texture vect. So let's, under the class name, add in @onReady var. Let's say animation text, which is a type of texture vect, and we're going to assign that to equals $ texture vect. So it'll take the texture vect that's in this hierarchy, assign this to the variable when the script starts, which means we can just come in here to the ready function and do animation text.visible equals false. So whenever the script starts, then the animation texture should be invisible. We're not going to need this process delta function, so I will just cut that out and hit save. Now let's go back to the text level. In 2D mode, I want to add a little toggle button, which we can use in order to tell the transitioner whether we are trying to play the fade out or the fade in animation. So under canvas layer, right click, add a child node, and let's do button. So we're going to want the check button option here, create. And of course in your actual game, you probably have. That's of course because I forgot to tell the transition button script to actually kind of want to just center this. So I think we might be able to just go down to go to fade out and do the same thing for the values. Just change the 25 to 10. If you hit play now, then it's going to look slower because it's going to a much smaller final value. Off, and we can just go down where it's playing transitioner dot, let's see, set next animation, and we're going to just pass in the button press value. And that should be all we need there, I think. So let's hit play. Let's hit check on the button. Okay, and we can toggle it off and on. So our faded animation is basically working correctly there. Plays anything for the animation. Okay, so it currently does not. Okay, and that's of course because I forgot to tell the transition button script to actually set the animation in the transitioner. So on toggled, we want to do transitioner dot, let's see, set next animation, and we're going to just pass in the button press value. And that should be all we need.
Okay, and then this is another case where I'm like, I don't think this is gonna solve it. Unbelievable, man. Like, what am I missing? Man. I hate having sessions like this. I really do. I'm in the gym. So that's another session of just trying to figure out how to get this stupid transition done. But I really want to add juice. I want to add the screen transition so it's a smooth transition from the scene to scene, and then I can focus on the other stuff. But I really just want to nail this. I don't want to avoid this problem. I want to solve it. So that's the end of this session. I'm very disappointed in my lack of results, but I'm seeing this as just like going to a gym. I'm putting in the effort. I may not see the results immediately, but I'm going to, hopefully I will see results. I'm putting in the effort. I'm being intentional. I'm asking questions. I'm using different tools. All the time I have this game dev dilemma of like, I just feel like this should be easier. Like this is all simple problems. Why can't I just solve these simple, stupid problems? Like, and this just feels like, and this has been my game dev journey of like, I'm doing exactly what it says. Like, why isn't this working? Like, and maybe it's just Godot, this version of Godot that I'm using. And, just for the sake of testing that, right? I'm just gonna exit out of here. I'm gonna go to Godot 4.0. Is it gonna let me open it? So no. I don't even remember what I was doing for this game. Jam. Yeah, I do not remember what my intention was here, but let me just see what's the state of this project. Can't even move the character. What the hell was I doing that I can't even move the character? What's the player script look like? I mean, that doesn't look bad to me. And in the process function, and the physics function, we're moving. Should it be movement? It is moving, just crazy slow, right? Yep, stupidly so. Is there like an excess mass of this thing? Don't think so. The collision shape overly big? Nope. Guess. Why do we even have vertical? What's the point of vertical? I cancel that out. Is plus equals. There we go. Anyway, for the sake of what I wanted to test in the first place, right? Collision shape. It's gonna say needs a what? An area. Yeah, so we'll give this to an area. You need to define the shape, which is going to be a square. Let's increase the size of it. Let's bring this over here. Let's have an event. I think it's going to be here. No, on the area. Which I still think it's like it should be, the collision shape should be, in my opinion, the should have the signal for like collision, but it's the area that actually has it. So emitted when receives an area entered, so I need body body entered, receiver, connect. In this case we're gonna say, oh, we're gonna do the same thing. That's what we had before. This is just practice, I guess, at this point. It's gonna be a node, and in this node we're gonna it's gonna be called transition. We're gonna add a child to that. That's gonna be a animation player. This animation player is going to have a child that's gonna be called a color rect. And then we get the animation. We're gonna create the animation. It's gonna be called fade. Same thing as before. We're gonna take this color rect 2D. We're gonna scale it up. Why don't you have weird? Oh, it's this one. I hate white screens. White screens suck. So here we go. Black, pure black, and there. Go back to animation player. We have fade, and the very first we're gonna add a track, and this is gonna be called property. This is gonna be the what's it called? Fuck it. I was trying to do it like this guy, but I'll just call it out straight up. So this is a fade, so it should be from completely translucent, which will be the first frame we have here. Boom. Keyframe. Maybe no, for the sake of testing we'll keep it the same. So here, and then this one's gonna be completely black. Alright, so we have that transition. Cool. And it's called fade. Cool. So I'm gonna save this. It's gonna be called transition. We're gonna put this same thing as before because we're just doing it for testing purposes. Here, transition as a, and I guess we could also make it a class rather than making it an auto load, but fuck it. Alright, so boom, we're gonna go to the signal that we have here. We're gonna say transition. What's it called? Huh. Alright. I did not spell that correctly. Transition. There we go. Dot. Oh, it doesn't have code. I didn't put code to it. So we're gonna do a similar thing. The animation player is gonna have code. Animation player is fine. We're gonna have a function called transition scenes, and from transition scenes we're going to same thing as before, which is going to take in a target, which is a string. This is how you do it. Yeah, there we go. And then we're gonna say play fade, and then play fade, await, animation finished, and then once that happens, get tree, or get tree dot change scene to and play backwards fade, and now transition dot what's the function called? Transition scenes. Transition dot Why is this reading as a string? Hold on. Hey. The transition scenes with the target being this should actually be target, and you should be the desired scene. Okay, so on entered, it should transition. Oh, it's gonna transition to the same scene. Yeah, so I guess it should just essentially reset the scene. What happened? It froze. How'd I break it? Non-existent function transition scenes. Okay. How? How is it not? How does it not exist? Do tell. How does it not exist? I literally created it. It's in this. It's literally in this. Maybe if I make it a class transition scenes class. I just feel like that should work. What was the problem again? Ah, that's not helping me. Here's the auto load, and within it, we're accessing transition scenes, is my thinking. Transition dot trans. And it's just like, this is what I'm gonna do. Print transition, so I can understand what the hell this is. Is a random node? Why is it referring to itself as a random node? Why? I don't get it. It's an auto load, so it should be available everywhere. What, like, I don't need to instantiate it or anything like that. Transition dot it's like a objective node, like it has no data type, I think. Transition dot I don't understand. I really don't understand. Control C. Fucking, I don't understand. Here, this is what we're gonna do, I guess. It doesn't make any sense. What the fuck? Non-existent function. You're an auto load, so I should be able to trans. If I click it, it's bringing me right to what I need. And to clarify, it's not even taking me to a function, it's taking me right to this. So I should be able to call this function. Oh my god. This is... Alright, I'm done. I'm done. This is so cumbersome, and I am done. I can't even prove my point. I'm done. Alright.